Today, we're officially hopping back on the YouTube game. It is Valentine's Day. Did you miss me? We have so much to catch up on, guys. I haven't seen you in forever. I have a new phone, so sorry if I'm like not looking at you guys in the camera. Like, I'm trying to give you guys eye to eye contact. We're locked in. We're locked in. But I feel like it looks weird. Maybe it should be this way. I don't know which way to do it. Yes, I still have Christmas decorations up. Don't judge me. Let's go find a cozy little spot to catch up. I have this snuggie that sometimes I use as a blanket because it's so cute and warm. But anyways, let's get down to business, to the tea. Where have I been? Why did I leave you guys hanging with all of my tutorials and such? I still get messages of people telling me like, I still watch all your old tutorials, they're so helpful and stuff like that, and that melts me every time, and then I feel guilty because I just kind of up and left everything. So let's go back. We got like 2-3 years to catch up on. I don't know when was the last time I uploaded, but okay, sit down, grab a snack. This might be a long video. My phone's telling me I have 30 minutes. We'll see if that's true because sometimes I run out of memory storage, whatever you call it, and we're not gonna edit it. I can be very long-winded in my stories. When it comes to tutorials, I try to get to the meat of it right away. But today is just gonna be a little talking vlog. I have some time before I get on with the Valentine's Day activities that I have planned for me and my daughter, but let's get down to it. The last time I did a sewing drop, I was trying to transition to having LR threads. If you guys don't know, they do fabric, but I was trying to transition to having them sew for me. But around that time, my drops just weren't it anymore. I feel like I reached the peak in my shop and in my creativity when it came to sewing. Like for a while, I feel like I was trying to be trendy and coming out with new stuff and just making things that I love and that were like super banging outfits. Like I remember my Easter drop was iconic in my mind. And if you guys remember, I did a Winnie the Pooh drop that was pretty cool. And I went viral with that drop on TikTok. But then, while I made the transition over to TikTok, I kind of realized that people were more so shopping to support me. Why am I gonna cry? I'm not crying, you guys should know by now. But they were more so shopping to support me, so it didn't really matter like what I was making. So I came to the realization that sewing for me has run its course. I'm so grateful for sewing. It really helped me when I was in a dark place. And it, of course, skyrocketed me to having a successful business. And then I was able to move out of my parents' house. Like, this is my house now. So I did so much for me. But I lost the passion for it. Like I said, I reached my creative peak. I feel like, no, there was no way to top what I was doing at the time. So I just kind of decided, you know what? I'm going to shift over to something else. And it was pretty gradual. Like I mentioned, I tried doing the whole like someone else is gonna sew for me, but then I feel like it didn't really feel authentic to what Roxy Luna was. Like people were buying because I was, sewing it from my own two hands, which is great. I don't blame people for not wanting to purchase once I tried to move to like more of a manufacturer. Hold on, I need to blow my nose or something. Nosebleed on camera, not clickbait. I just blow my nose so hard sometimes. But anyways, so once I realized that the manufacturing and my passion just wasn't in it anymore, I just kind of gradually started making sweaters. I remember I incorporated them into a Christmas drop and I did sell a few and it was nice and fun and I was like, oh, something different. And I remember telling people like my heart's like I'm getting older and I'm just not cut out to be a mini sewing factory. And you guys know if you sew, cutting hundreds of yards of fabric and then having to sew 100 outfits in all varying sizes, all the patterns, it was becoming too much for me as well. So I finally decided to try out something different. I did a few sweaters and they were cute, people liked them. And then I remember I got the idea of doing a sweater in Spanish. And I will say I was inspired by another brand, but once I realized that that brand was kind of sketchy and the owner of the brand wasn't the nicest individual, I was like, you know what? Instead of buying a sweater from her that I wanted, I'm just gonna make my own, but make it in Spanish. Because, I mean, I like Spanish. Everything sounds better in Spanish, I've always said. So I did my Lloro Mucho sweater. And I had already come up with the concept of it. And I remember when someone commented on my video, it was like a past video, she was like, you need to stop crying or something like that. So I remember I was like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect way to promote this sweater. Like, everyone loves drama or whatnot. Hold on, I had to readjust because I'm really bleeding right here. So it was a perfect like strategy of going viral, and then everyone loved my sweater. And I remember after that, I just kept posting the sweater and I kept going viral, and the traction was just amazing. I had gone viral before, but this time I felt different. I felt more connected like with the customers, and I liked what the sweater was about. It like had meaning behind it, which is always cool. So then I just kind of rolled with it, and before you knew it, I was a full-blown little sweater business. I was pressing hundreds of sweaters a day, and I think at one point I had like 1,000 pending orders. I don't know about you guys, but for someone who has had success in her business, I had never had that huge of success. Like, the money was crazy. I remember showing you guys like one of my drops hitting $4,000. I'll be very what's it called, transparent with you guys. We hit 30,000. Like, that amount of money still blows my mind to this day, and I wish I'm gonna get to this a little bit further in the video, but just as a little preface, or not preface, what is it called, just a little foreshadowing, like, I wish I would have known what to do with that money because it's all gone now. But not that I spent it all on like lavish stuff. I only have a bed and a couple of dressers in my room. Like, I don't go out and buy lavish things, but I just wish I would have known like how to pivot and grow the business, because at the time I was replying, because of course with going viral, then it's like, oh, I had that oh shit feeling of like, what am I doing? Like, I'm just one person making these. So I had to get my sister to help me pack, or my sister helped me brand the items, and then my parents were helping me pack everything. So it was like a full-blown family business. And a lot of people I think in the sewing world will always say like, oh, you gotta stop the orders, like cap yourself or whatever. But at the time, I was telling everybody, knew that it was just me, so everybody was so understanding. And I remember I was answering hundreds of emails a week as well. I told myself I was going to do 100 orders a week. So did it take me 10 weeks? Yeah, it did. But I was very transparent with people. So everyone that was emailing me, I was like, hey, you're in this week's lineup. You know, like, hey, I'm doing 100 orders a week. Your order number, da da da. So you'll be going out this week. Thank you for your patience. If you're not willing to wait, like, here's a refund. You know, like, I was very, like, I was doing it all, doing the sweaters, doing the customer service, and just doing my best with it. There were a few hiccups here and there. Like, I remember some packages would get returned to me, and then I have to be like, oh my gosh, I need to refund this person, because I don't have the time to be going back and forth with them to figure out if they still want the sweater and like what's their actual address and da da da. So there was a few hiccups here and there, but overall it was like such an amazing feeling to know that like thousands, I say thousands now because we've sold way more, but I feel like thousands of people have my sweater, and that was such a cool feeling. And then I never reached that virality again, which I want to say, because I feel like people, or at least I assumed like once I reached that level, like I was just going to be making that kind of money every month, but that wasn't the case. So things slowed down to where it was like more manageable, which is nice. And then of course it was starting to warm up, because I went viral around November, and I kept the production going and going viral with the sweaters up until March, which makes sense because that's like when things start to warm up. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, my nose just will not stop. But anyways, so then I had the idea of turning my design into t-shirts, and then I was bringing in more t-shirts, and people loved those as well. But again, it wasn't like the 30,000 months. It was trickling down to a more manageable level. And like anything, with TikTok, it's very hard to maintain virality. So I didn't take like offense to it, or I didn't take it personally. I was just like, okay, that was cool. I'm glad that I had that experience. Now I know like how to tackle it if I ever go viral again, type shit. So then I decided to start making cups, and this was like my second viral, or I guess third viral moment, because I did go viral with my sewing. But I was not prepared for this either, because that's when TikTok Shop launched. Now with TikTok Shop, they were really pushing videos, so literally every video that I made and that I added a product to, it was going viral. People were loving my cups, they were loving my story. I was telling everybody like, you guys keep showing up for me, and I'm so grateful for that. And it was just amazing. And same thing, like there was hundreds of orders, I was making hundreds of cups. And that's when I started going live as well more often. It was more like a daily thing, because I noticed on TikTok you could go live and attach your products, and like who doesn't love a little QVC moment, you know? So we were having like QVC shopping. It was great. I would get orders, and I'd be like, you order on the live, I'll make it on the live. So I was getting the orders, making the cup, shipping it on the same time, or in the same day. So everything was getting shipped out super quickly. And then I was still getting orders for apparel on my website. So everything was just amazing at the time. That was like another really good big influx of orders. So again, remember I said it was like up here around Christmas, and then March it kind of trickled down, and then back in summer it went way back up. So I was really like riding it, and then by I want to say like September, October, November, it was getting like flatlining, like steady, which is what I've always wanted. I always tell people like I'm either doing like viral amounts of orders or like little to no orders, like there's never any between. But I had finally found the in between, and that was actually through selling the prints that I was putting on the cups. They're called cup wraps. So after I was making cups on live, like obviously people could see like, hey, I like those designs that you're using. Do you sell the designs themselves? Do you sell the wraps by themselves? And I was like, you know what? I've never thought about selling supplies like that. Um, what do they call materials? I never thought about selling materials to other small businesses, but sure. So I remember I made an order for more variety of designs, because at the time I was mostly sticking to the Spanish designs and more stuff that was in my culture. That was all really cute, by the way. I still love all those designs. I still sell most of them. But then once we transitioned into the wraps, I didn't have time to make the finished cups anymore, and I became like a fully wrap shop. And that was another crazy experience, because I had never done it before. I mean, you might say like, Carla, it's easy, just list the product and it'll sell. But the way that I was doing it was you shop on the live, because again, remember TikTok Shop and lives, they were like when they go hand in hand, it's an insane amount of money in one night. Because remember I was telling you guys that I had flatline. At this time I was making maybe $1,000 to $2,000 a night. Some nights it would even jump higher than that if it was like a new release of wraps. And I don't know how I did it, or what the like magical potion of elements was. Like I don't know if it was just because of the time that I started and the fact that TikTok Shop was fairly new and they were pushing me out. Like I don't know what it was. Obviously I give myself credit too, because I was grinding every single night. It wasn't just an easy $1,000 a night. I was on from 10 p.m., the time my daughter went to bed, until she woke up at 7 a.m. Like I was on that entire time just grinding out orders. And I remember I would have people on the live helping me as well, because the way I did it was I eventually started numbering all the wraps, and then I would tell people like, okay, when you place your order, it could be a bundle of 10, 50, whatever quantity you want, and then give me the numbers. If an item is sold out, give me some backup numbers. That's how I did it at the time. Instead of like putting everything on the website and having people sell it that way, people liked seeing like what I had live at the time, and then I would pick everything, be like, here's your order, thank you so much, and then package it, and then it was out the door the next day. And I remember I was taking like so many orders every day, and they're actually heavy. Like you wouldn't think a little transfer is that heavy, but once you're packing like hundreds a week, it was pretty heavy. I remember my biggest day, my biggest sale day was 100 orders in one day, which might not seem like a lot, but for having people just come on to the live to shop is like huge, or that is a huge amount. So anyways, after that, I never looked back for sewing. The point I'm trying to make is I just never looked back, because I realized, like, yes, that was a lot of work, but it wasn't a lot of physical work, because with sewing, like, I would get physically exhausted, and then from the lives, it was more of I would get socially exhausted, because I'm on this live. Yes, I'm grinding and doing my orders, but I would also be talking my shit and show my personality, and it was a lot of fun. And I would show like my crazy side, and I would drink on the live just to get me through the night, and I would be. And I remember at the time my phrase was like, if you guys still order, like, I'll be on. So it's like, as soon as the orders stop, like, I'll stop. But sometimes I have to be like, actually, even though you guys are still ordering, like, it's like I gotta take my kid to school. Like, it's literally the next day. So I'm super grateful for that experience as well. And then I decided to jump into pens. If you guys haven't seen my pens, they're so cute. I remember at the time, I'm making all this money, I'm having, a great time on live, and I was like, you know what? I never spend my money, so I'm going to spend it on pens. I remember I found other lives, because at the time, it was like the big craze, I guess you could say. Everyone was jumping on live to sell their items, and I remember seeing pens. And then as soon as I found one pen girl, there was like a million other pen girls, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love these pens. So I started collecting them and just buying and buying and buying. And by the time I was done, I was getting like 10 packages a week just of pens. And I loved it though, because I wanted to support other small businesses. I felt so blessed, and I was like, I'm going to return the favor and support all these other amazing businesses. So I still have all the pens. I love them. And so by November, I believe, that's when I started to get my own pen materials, because I was like, okay, Carla, this is getting a little expensive. Because the way it worked is there's little characters you can put on top of the pens. They're called Doorables. And there's been, I believe, 13 series now of Doorables. So you could, like, imagine trying to collect every single Doorable on a pen. Like, that would be thousands and thousands of dollars. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to invest into pen making supplies and see how it goes for me selling my own. It got so, oh my gosh, I'm going to cry again, but this is why I said, like, in the beginning, that it's not the products that I sell, it's like the people want to support me. Which might sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but damn it, like, give me credit. If I don't know any other shop that can just transition over and over and over to new products and still be successful with it. So I'm like, I feel like hot shit sometimes, but in the most humble way, because it's allowed me to stay home with my daughter. Which is the whole reason I even opened a shop, was because I did not want to be that mom that's working 9 to 5 and has my parents watching my kid and raising her for me, I know that everyone has that luxury, which is why I'm so grateful. So I say it in the most humble way, but also in a bragging way, because, like, damn it, yo, girl can sell. I tell everyone, I'm like, I've sold everything except my body at this point. So anyway, people were really receptive to the pens, and people were just as obsessed with them as when I first discovered them. So I had people buying hundreds of pens from me, like, just from my shop. But I would tell people, like, oh my gosh, maybe so-and-so has this character that you're looking for that I don't have. And I just went, like, full force with it. So much so that at this point, I was officially burnt out. So I started the pens in November, and I was ready to quit pens by January. Not quit them, but I was ready for a break by January, because, again, I was going on live every single night making pens, showing the characters that I had, and I have hundreds of characters, and I had all these beads, and we would go on live, and you could customize your pen and tell me how you want me to build it. So it was a lot of work as well, and again, it drained my social batteries. So every time I would take my daughter to school, I would just crash and sleep all day, and then do it all again, So anyways, I finally told everybody, I was like, you know what? I am so burnt out from these pens. I'm having to make hundreds of pens, and I even got my friend to help me. He would come over and we would just make my orders together because there was so many people were ordering so many pens, which again I'm so grateful for. But finally, after going viral with the sweaters, going viral with the cups, I didn't go viral with the pens, but having hundreds of orders for pens, I was finally like, guys, I need a break. And that's why I'm saying all the money is gone, because I took a break starting February all the way up until I want to say September. So I had enough funds, thankfully, to pay all my bills for all those months, do fun things with my daughter, be more present with her. I remember I was telling people, I was finally eating 3 meals a day. Because, when you're running a business, I always put myself last. Because I always tell people it's either me, my daughter, or my job, or my house. Like, these are the 4 pillars. And I can only do 3. So I'm always like, well, which one's gonna suffer this week, And it's always me. Because I want to keep a good house for my daughter. I want to, obviously, make sure that my daughter's happy, healthy, thriving. And then what was the last one? Oh, and my work is the way that I provide for us and how I pay the bills. So I was like, I have to be on the back burner. So I wouldn't sleep, I wouldn't eat, and I would just do everything in the business, everything in my daughter's life, everything with my family. Like, I would just go, 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 go. So I finally reached this point where I was like, what was it all for? That sounds weird, because again, I'm so grateful, so I don't want to sound like, oh, what do you mean, what was it all for? Anyone would kill for this position. I more so mean, what was it all for? Because I finally realized, like, I'm doing all of this and I have all this money in the bank, but for what? For what? Now that I'm looking back, it's like a great spot to be, like, financially secure, and I have to worry about bills. Like, I hadn't had to worry about bills for 8 months straight. Like, I was so happy. I was in bliss. That's the happiest I've ever been in my entire life since having my daughter. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is like what I'm meant to do. This sounds so weird, but I've always wanted to be mantenida. Like, I've always wanted someone else to pay the bills. I've always just wanted to be a stay-at-home mother. I don't mean just because it's a damn hard job. And I've always wanted to be a stay-at-home mother. I was like, finally, I have my dream. Like, I don't have to work. I can just be a mom and have time for myself and be happy and do what I want to do. It was just like the best 8 months of my life, right? Or maybe it was 7. I always say 8, but I don't know how long it was. But then eventually the money ran out, and I was like in an oh shit position, because I was like so happy and like blissful. I was like, la 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 la. So then when I finally checked my bank account, I was like, oh shit, I can't be doing this for any more months, actually. So that's when I kind of had this moment of like, I don't know what I want to do now. So that's what I'm telling you guys. That business is so unpredictable, because I had all these highs, and I haven't had a high since. Well, I have, actually. I'm not gonna lie. I had another like $10,000 month since then. So yeah, this was last September that I had to really come back into the grind, start working again, Carla. And I've just been trying like different things here and there. Like, some things will stick, others won't. And I'm just in this spot now. What is it, February? I'm in this spot now where I'm like, I don't know what to do with my shop. I'm just trying things and seeing if they stick. Like, what do they call? Like, I'm trying. Yeah, I think that's just it. I'm just trying things, seeing what sticks, seeing what's gonna pay the bills. That's what kind of sucks about owning a business, is I hate feeling the feeling of like, well, I need to pay my bills, and it's so unpredictable now. Because back when I was having these really high highs, I feel like I didn't think it was ever gonna end, which that's I don't know, maybe that sounds like bitchy, like, oh, I didn't think I was ever gonna not make as many. Well, actually, like I said, I have had good months. It's just my heart's not in it anymore, because since experiencing what life is like without having to work, It's like I got a taste of the good life and I just want that good life so bad. So it's my own fault for not reaching any high highs anymore, because my heart's just not in it. I'm just kind of doing like whatever to maintain myself. And I am really good with my money. Like right now I have enough to sustain us for 3 months, let's say. So that's like my rule, is like, okay, I need to have enough for the next 3 months as like an emergency type of fund. But I would want to be in a better place where I can what's it called, invest in something. Like I'm trying to create generational wealth, and I look at my dad and I'm like, how did he do it? No, like literally, how did you do it, Dad? Like, please, I need tips. But yeah, but then I don't know, I'm 31, so I'm like, maybe that's too much pressure on myself to be like, I need to have generational wealth for my kiddo. She's 7. Like I want to make sure that she's set for her life too, but I don't know how to do that. So right now I'm just trying not to put so much pressure on myself. But it sucks because I know I have so much potential. Like I think back to my sweater days and I'm like, that could be me indefinitely if I had a team, like if I had what's it called, more marketing skills. I'm like, I have so much potential. So a lot of times I get frustrated with myself because I'm like I know I can do it. I've done it before. I've proven myself over and over and over again. But I'm just burnt out. That's the only thing I could say, is I'm burnt out, and I'm trying to be okay with it. I'm trying to give myself grace. I'm trying to just kind of go with the flow this year. I told myself, like, I'll post, what I can and for what I need, which is, to pay the bills and to not have any other expectations. And then figure it out as I go. So I'm giving myself this year to just kind of make ends meet, if you will, which is, for anyone that has to run a household by themselves or with a partner, like making ends meet is hard in and of itself. So I don't mean it in like a negative way. I just mean it in a, this is my life right now and it's fine, it's okay. A lot of us are in the same boat. And then if I do happen to strike gold again and have like another viral moment, then that's where I'll pivot. But for now, I just want that weight off my shoulders. Because I think back to when I wasn't working, the reason it felt so great is because there was no pressure, right? There was no pressure to provide. There was no pressure to wear all the hats and do them all perfectly. Because again, going back to my 4 things, I want to have all 4, but I have to be realistic too. And right now, I'm having all 4 in a way, but I'm still trying to find that balance. And yeah, so needless to say, because I was juggling all these high points in my business, my career, that's why I put YouTube on the back burner, and now I just kind of want to use it. I don't know, I want to start doing tutorials again, but like on the new stuff that I've been making, and just kind of be like a crafty / vlog channel, I guess you would call it. I don't know what this is called when I just sit down and talk. But if you watched this far, then you're all caught up now. Like I said, things are good, but we're just trying to figure out what the next step is, and we'll see. Maybe I'll become like a full-blown YouTuber. That's has been my ultimate dream. I just want to yap to the camera and be paid for it. That's it. But thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.